Hello and welcome back to Hoteliers Voice Season 5. In this episode, we're speaking to André Doria, the Head of Digital Empowerment at PortoBay Hotels, as we explore the testing of artificial intelligence within hotels. He's going to explain how him and his team internally have been working to include artificial intelligence across the hotel stack, where they've had success and where they still need to make investments. Now, while I've got your attention, subscribe to our newsletter. Why? Because we've just become one of the top hospitality podcasts. You'll get the latest updates of our latest content that we are releasing, but also you can see the events that we are hosting. So I host a number of roundtables where you're able to share and engage with other hoteliers and industry specialists, but also a number of networking events where you can socialize and connect with other professionals in the industry. So simply visit travelmarket.life. Yes, that's www.travelmarket.life. Thank you very much for listening. Let's get on with the episode.
Hoteliers Voice from Travel Market Life, exploring opportunity in hospitality with Ryan Haynes. Hear from the people making a difference, from revenue to operations, marketing to digitalization. Learn the thinking behind their decisions.
So my name is André Doria. I work for PortoBay Hotels Resorts. I'm from Madeira Islands. I work in the IT department and I'm head of digital empowerment, which means I basically focus my work on making life easier for the employees, making them happier as they do their job. Hopefully they'll do it easier and faster.
Now, PortoBay has 16 properties within your portfolio, quite a few of them on the Madeira Island.
Yeah, we have, so we were born in Madeira, where we have several hotels, resorts, and 5 stars, 4 stars. We are actually having a new baby, more recently in Algarve as well. We're going to have our second hotel in Algarve. But yeah, we're a Madeira-based company. Madeira is a very big tourist destination. I think tourism is more or less about 80% of the GDP of the islands. So even though it's a 50 kilometer by 20 kilometer island, there's a lot of hotels, a lot of tourist-focused people. We are very welcoming. You might know Portuguese are very welcoming, and in Madeira as well. By heritage, we are accustomed to receive people on the islands.
Now, what about staffing? You're on a small island, hundreds of miles away from the mainland. I know that I've spoken to a number of hoteliers here in Portugal. Challenges like most other parts of the industry across Europe with staffing. What is it like trying to staff your hotels?
Yeah, so we have to understand the history of Madeira. Madeira had a very big tourism education institution that for decades, almost a century now, has produced staff that was capable of working in hotels. We don't suffer a lot from the rotation issues that the mainland suffers because we have mainly people based in the island, which means we have a lot of employees that work for PortoBay for more than 10 years, 15 years, and are still with us. Couples, people that are married together and work in the kitchen of the hotel, for example. So it's a fairly different perspective on the staffing. We like to keep people on the long run. We are used to do that on the island. On the mainland, of course, we know there's the different challenges, and we have different challenges in our hotels in the mainland. But we try to keep nurturing those people so they stay with us, basically.
So when you're looking at your technology, you're developing the stack, where is your key focus area? Is it operations? Is it guest experience? Or is it around sort of commercials, generating those bookings?
So I tend to work a little bit on everything, but I'm more focused on the employee staff tools. So one thing I'm passionate about is to close the gap that exists between our home tools and our work tools. And I'll explain briefly what that means. Basically, for example, ChatGPT and all those LLMs, they're around. People can use them on their phones. If you don't give something similar to those people, they likely will use that at the work. And that's what we don't want. We don't want data from customers, from hotels going outside. So we need to bridge that gap and we need to give those tools. Another example is, for example, communication. If we don't give easy to use, efficient communication, odds are that the staff is going to use WhatsApp or they're going to use another external tool. Humans tend to find the easiest, best solution for their problem. So I am passionate about that. And most of my work is trying to bridge that gap and give tools that really make them want to use the tools we have as a company, as an hotel, as a group, and not consumer products. And that is a challenge in itself. So I think basically that's where I'm focused right now. Of course, introducing AI, introducing other technologies that can help their lives. But that's basically what I do.
You made a natural bridge over to AI, and this was the conversation that you were involved with, the IHTF. And we started by, I asked you where you are currently deploying AI across the PortoBay tech stack. So if you would summarize for us.
Yeah, so I think we have a very curious, maybe single experience because we tried to implement and we implemented in-house our own AI solution. That's, I think, what's different between our hotels and other hotels of similar size, which is we try to fiddle around with open source software and the solutions that were born in the last 1 year, 1.5 years, and try to build a solution that could stay in-house and would allow people to do things like predicting revenues, predicting a cancellation, doing their own networks. So I'm fortunately enough to have a technical background and have a lovely team that also has enough technical background to handle that. And I think we built, let's say, a test bed. We got our feet wet enough so we know what's out there. And now when we approach a supplier, we actually know what we want. We know what we're talking about. I was seeing this awesome presentations here in the conference, and I could relate to the presentations because I know what they're talking about. I've been through it in a small scale, but I've been through it. So I know what's out there. I think we're better prepared now to look at the market. We have the use cases because we are the hotel and we have the AI. We were able to build the use cases that were useful for us. So now we can search for nice solutions out there and suppliers having that knowledge, basically.
And how do you sort of develop that understanding of AI internally? What has been your process to help empower the team to really feel comfortable using this new technology?
So, as I said, PortoBay likes to nurture a lot their employees. So we are encouraged to learn. We are encouraged to go out there, do trainings, and to know more about, in our case, technology in my team. So we were reading, we were testing, we're experimenting. We had the sandboxes we wanted to experiment. And we just basically learned, I wouldn't say from ourselves because that's not really fair. We learned from what's being done out there by other people in suppliers and in open source community. And we were just nurturing that and like spiking each other to learn a little bit more about AI, trying test cases until we got to solutions that were really useful for us. That's when there's no discussion that AI is going to be a big thing. It's already a big thing. We do not want to be the earliest adopters, but we definitely do not want to be the late adopters. We want to adopt it just on the right time. And to know when the right time is, you have to get your feet wet. If you don't get your feet wet, you're never going to know what's the appropriate temperature to go in.
So true. And, as a hotel industry, there is that fear and worry around security, data, protecting that. Also, with AI, there's been a lot of talk about how some of these platforms have learnt what sort of information and content and data has fed into them, and a lot more policies now, particularly for enterprises, about using AI platforms whereby it's only fed its own data and its own information, that its ring fence is protected from that data being accessible externally as well. That's a real important aspect for hotels, isn't it?
It is. And it is in several perspectives. Bias is a big thing that we need to fight. And I think there's a lot of articles out there and examples of where LLMs and AI is found to be biased, and we need to fight against that. But I also think, again, going back to bridging that gap, the weakest link in a chain in security, whatever, is always the human. Okay, so we need to avoid human leaking that data. And usually they do it not knowing that they're doing. So for example, when you see things like DeepSeek, which was a really bombastic news, and people start using DeepSeek and ChatGPT on their phones, they have to be aware that they cannot put corporate data there. That data probably will be used to train something. I'm not saying that there are ill intentions from the companies. Surely there aren't, but there needs to be that awareness, and there need to be comparable tools inside the corporation. And when I say inside, it doesn't need to be the hotel to do it. You can trust your suppliers because the suppliers will have that in consideration, will protect your data. And you can do it with suppliers and indoor on premises, but you need to be extra careful so you do not incentivize and you actually make people aware that they cannot use that data outside of the corporate tools, be it on cloud tools or on premises tools.
And when you're looking at suppliers, this is what this event's all about, finding tech partners. What is instrumental to you about understanding their approach to developing their business and their technology, but also utilizing new technologies?
So first and foremost for me is for me to relate with the supplier and understand that the supplier sees the AI as a useful tool. It's not the buzzword. It's not the powerhouse of the solution. It's just something that's there because it's needed and it makes the process work. So that will make me trust that partner in that sense. Of course, being able to recognize that they have some interesting use cases. But again, in our specific case, we already bring a lot of use cases. So I want this open relationship with my supplier so I can tell you, look, we have these 3 or 4 use cases. We already did a little test and it's really interesting for us. I don't have the capacity. I'm not a software provider. I'll trust you to do that implementation. And so that's the thing I'm looking on a supplier. When I was listening to Felix, for example, presentation, I could relate a lot with what he was presenting. That journey that he did 2 years ago, I don't want to go through it now. I'm not a software provider, so I don't want to go through the investment, through the risk. I can trust him because he's done that path. I can give him the use cases. I can tell him what we're trying to do, and I'm sure he will find a better way to do it. So that's what I'm looking when I'm looking at suppliers in the AI space.
Excellent. I mean, technology can, I guess, cover all aspects of the guest journey, of our staff and operations. Where do you think there is a limit, particularly for PortoBay, where enough is enough when it comes to technology?
So one of the pillars of PortoBay is people. And again, my focus is to help people. There's no people, I'm not helping anyone. So we think that the relationship with the guests, with the client, should be handled by people, but we want them to be available to that interaction. So we want to facilitate and to kind of take care of all the things that are not interacting with persons. That one we want to keep human. We really think as a company that there is no replacement for a human interacting with another human, the kind of relationships you establish. Just for you to have a grasp of what PortoBay is made about, a lot of staff in PortoBay get postcards from guests when their children marry. There is a relationship because you have a lot of repeaters, people that come to the island for more than 15 years, that brought their second generation. Some parents had died and the kids come back again to relive the memories of the parents. So those kind of interactions are the most important thing for PortoBay. So what we want to do with technology is make everything else easier and make everything else almost transparent to happen. So that's where our focus is, and that's where we draw the line. Technology is only useful if it's freeing people to do what they're best at, which is interact with other people.
André, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Ryan.
Appreciate that.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music Sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.